Humans are a messy species, and that's awesome. Every drop of meaning, purpose, love, hope, joy, and creativity comes from that messiness. AI creates slop. We're sloppy, which leads to works of genius. So, what kind of work do we want to be doing? That's the question Steve Chavez and I dig into on this week's DesuckifyWork podcast. Steve is the Chief Creative Officer at Buntin, an ad agency in Nashville. He's been doing this kind of work for years. He's also my former boss. So here's what he thinks about the way we should be working. We need more human imperfectness. We need more real conversations in person. We need more magical collaboration. I have a hard time arguing with any of these, even as someone who advocates for remote work. Humans need to bump into each other once in a while, see what spills out. So, who wants to make a mess together? Welcome to the DesuckifyWork podcast, the show where we cut through the BS and find ways to make work more fun, more human, and less ridiculous. All of which makes your business more profitable, by the way. If you enjoy this one, please like, share, rate, review, or subscribe to the podcast. Let the desuckifying begin. Here's Steve. Okay, Steve Chavez, welcome to the DesuckifyWork podcast.
TJ, thanks for having me. I know we've known each other for quite a while, and we've talked about this multiple times. I'm glad we're finally getting a chance to do it.
I am too. Yeah. Like you said, we've known each other for a good while now. We worked on Mazda together, and we've kept in touch over the years. For those who may not know who you are, I'd love to give you a chance to just give the short spiel about what you do for work and how you came to be doing it.
Wow, sure. Well, I'll try to make this succinct. Sometimes not my best skill. I actually earned a scholarship for fine art out of high school in the Midwest. My dad transferred to California while I was still a senior in high school. I rescinded the scholarship for the call of California.
Nice.
And was a little aimless through college, to be candid. Discovered advertising my junior year at Cal State Fullerton, that you could be creative and actually, theoretically make a living. Theoretically. So I took one of the predecessors to things like Creative Circus and et cetera. There was something in LA called the Ad Center.
Oh, yeah.
So on top of my classes at Cal State Fullerton, I learned about this. I signed up. I'll go to it was only like an 8-week course. Week number 2, I brought in my layouts, which were, fine art. And John Anarino, some people may know that name, a DDB. We were at the DDB LA offices. I believe he had some VW pedigree.
Nice.
He looked at my work and said, "These layouts are beautiful, but you couldn't design a page to save your life."
Nice.
Then as I'm moping away from his desk, I say, "Well, what?" He says, "Well, who wrote the headlines?"
Yeah.
And so I wrote those like last night just to fill the hole.
Yeah.
He's picked 3 of the headlines, said, "Write body copy for that and bring it back next week." I honestly didn't really understand.
Yeah.
That was.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of did, I went into the annuals. I certainly had things I really liked, and so I kind of dug into that assignment. Came in next week, had my 3 ads written. He read them. Literally, it felt like in 10 seconds. I mean, he just seemed like he zipped through them.
Mm-hmm.
He handed me back the layouts and said, "You're a copywriter." With
a whiff of disgust in it. I love that.
And I knew a few people in the business. I was interning at a small agency in Orange County. And all the writers are like, you got to take that, man. I mean, there's like 10 art directors to every writer. Mm-hmm. It's like, give up some really good lunches from reps, but other than that should be your path. And that was literally it. And from there, built a student book, started in San Diego. Duncan Milner gave me my first job in the business.
Sure.
At a small agency in San Diego. We are dear friends to this day.
Nice.
And within a year or 2, that agency went under.
Yeah.
Ended up at another shop in San Diego that had these Nissan dealers of San Diego County.
Mm-hmm.
Made some noise on that piece of business as a 25, 26-year-old. And of all things, a dealer on the dealer council told somebody significant at Nissan about, you know, they were getting ready to consolidate the dealer business at Chiat Day, and they're looking to build out that tier 2 department.
Yep.
And that connection had, got me the gig.
That's awesome.
Lee
Wow.
Clout reached out. I'd been pen pals with Dave Butler through my end of college years.
Yeah.
Also very, very significant in helping me get that gig.
Yeah.
And that definitely was my finishing school. I was so lucky. I'd barely been in the business 2 years, and I was, showing ads to Lee and Dave. Wow. It was, having really talented people kill my work. So it was like,
well, that's how you learn, right? I mean, that's the harsh truth,
So, and then built, I would hope at this point, a decent career, stops in LA. I kind of went into freelance for a while, enjoyed that, but really felt at a particular point in my career that I was never really going to manage my career properly unless I stayed on staff, stuck to a brand, stuck to an agency, and started to dig into the discipline of what we do. Yeah. And that turning point was really Saatchi LA and Toyota.
Sure. Yeah.
20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
Another great experience. Steve Rabowski, my first boss. Jim Farley, one of our significant clients in the business. Kim McCullough, who became the CMO of Jaguar. Jim, CEO of Ford. He pushed us, and great people at the agency. I got to work with great young talent, Dino Spadavecchia, Napper Tandy, Greg Connolly, Jim's cousin of all things. Lots of cool people there.
Yeah.
Mike Seiko, Bob Fremkin. We had a run.
Yeah.
5 or 6 years. And that elevated my profile. That got me into the international shows, Cannes, Clio's, D&AD.
Yeah.
And just kept building.
Yeah. 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 Those are some good schools, Chiat and Saatchi in LA. I mean, I think a lot of people pass through those places, and people who are fortunate enough to take the lessons are often able to build something pretty nice.
You learn. In my freelance days, I got to work at places like, Fallon and a few high profile places. And it is a good point that you're making, that you kind of think you always need to be open to, for example, I was at Ogilvy LA in my younger years after Chiat on Microsoft, and appreciated the time there. Of course, worked with Ivan Horvath, who was amazing. But there was a little bit of a vibe, once the board is sold, that's, you hand off the baton.
Yeah.
Then a few years later, I slide in a place like Fallon for a long freelance gig, 8-9 months. You start to learn that every step of the process is an opportunity to make it better. And then I never worked for Jeff Goodby, but I had friends who did, and he also preached, if at every stop along the way you can make the idea 5% better through music, sound design, edit.
Yeah.
You take that opportunity to do that. So
yeah. It's a really good learning experience, and I think you get it a little bit quicker when you work with people like that, right? I mean, you can get it anywhere, but when you've got people who have been that successful at it,
right?
If your eyes are open,
and then the world, the ecosystem, another word that gets thrown around. Yeah. But the world around people like that, or just the culture of those agencies and resources, they're a condition to it. So the people kind of bubble to the top who have a passion and a belief and are willing to, execute. So, and you have directors. I mean, you have production companies. I'm very close to Eric Joyner, who owns Tool. Eric came out of Goodby many, many, many years ago. Yeah. He's never lost that. Here's a chance on set, in the moment. Right. Let's try this. Always trying to elevate.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. You get exposed not only within the agency, but with all the various partners along the way too, who are playing the same game. of
Right.
the 5%
At
better
least
game.
have the same attitude. You never,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
always, you don't, you can feel it when someone doesn't, I guess. That's
Yeah. Yeah. No, you can. You definitely can. And it's, yeah. I mean, who knows how you get there. But you're
right.
definitely aware of it when it's a little bit more of, it's just a job. It's just another project. Let's just get it done. Yeah. I'm curious for you. Like, you've had this, nice long career. You're working, you've been working as a CCO now for 15 years
Close to
ish.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
I mean, what's been the, this is the Desuckify Work podcast. What's been the thing that makes work the hardest, that makes it suck? Like, when is it just purely a grind?
Oh gosh. I think we have had a tendency in the industry over the last probably 10, 15 years, maybe not
Hmm.
quite that long ago, but I'm sure I haven't watched every one of your podcasts, but I'm sure you've heard this one. So, but it's like it's just there's such a black and whiteness to data and
Hmm.
analytics
Yeah.
and a sense of best practices and what works and what doesn't,
Hmm.
that it's the tail wagging the dog at times that
Yeah.
can be really hard to respectfully sort of navigate
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
I'm prepared. I think I have it in one of my notes. I'm prepared to tell you how passionate I am about a great strategist and an insight and
Hmm.
the way in, as Steve
Yeah.
Hayden used to put it. It's like, what's your
Yeah.
way? What's that little magical
Hmm.
collaboration and collision between strategy and an inspiring idea?
Yeah.
But we sometimes we just stack all that stuff in the middle of the table, and that's as far as we get. We just unpack that,
Mm.
and I think that can truly suck. So
Yeah. It's an interesting point because on the one hand, I think anybody can sort of objectively understand like why that's true. Like, I get it. You want some certainty in the game, right? And data feels like that. What I notice is in many ways, data feels like a bit of the lead in to sort of some of the mentality around AI these days. And it's like, what the question that always comes up is like, well, where does the human influence come into play? And the human influence is not precise and perfect and measured and completely predictable. It's actually the opposite of most of those things. And the beautiful ideas are usually the ones that have a hint of being slightly illogical. There's some weird turn in it that scrapes against our humanity in a really cool
right,
way. And it's hard to predict your way into that. It's hard to, use the mechanisms of any technology to sort of articulate that. You have to actually allow the messiness of human
right,
collaboration and our imperfection to sort of simmer in that space. And that's a hard tension for some people to see. I think some people just either maybe they haven't experienced it themselves of that, or even still, they're so damn afraid of
right.
the downside risk that they can't see it. But I wonder, like, how can we get back to the embracing and enjoying the rough edges of humanity in the work a little
Right.
bit more? Yeah.
Excellent point. And I guess as I listen to you, I start to kind of process, you know, where I try to create that culture and environment
Mm-hmm.
where the abrasiveness is, or the messiness, or a
Mm-hmm.
little unpredictability. I've tried for many years, again, things I've learned, I steal from everyone,
Yeah.
but the sense of just putting the right resources in the arena, if you
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
will. And if it's just in the sense of production's an easy example because there's many resources you have to manage, but and there's something at the end of this I think is the most important. But I think you want to work with someone that you trust. You want to find the best talent that seems to have, maybe if we're talking about humor, a handle on improv and
Mm-hmm.
thinking on their feet. You
Yeah.
want You want to make sure that the environment on set is solid and comfortable, and no one's wigging out by 9 a.m. And you want to certainly have your team on your side be comfortable with all of the elements and kind of have a bit of a, I would say, a game plan to how to approach the day.
Yeah.
And one of the important things, and be thoroughly familiar with script and details and ideas, and be prepared to have three more.
Yeah.
If the one clearly isn't working that you believed was the greatest idea of all time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But most important to that, and I think something I've tried, and I'm not saying I'm always successful, you want to build trust with your clients that they're not always successful, but you want to build at least a level of trust with your clients where, first of all, they know you have their back.
Yeah.
You're not there to, shoot.
Jerk their shit around, basically.
Yeah, sneak a short film by them.
Yeah, exactly.
None of that bullshit. Yeah. But you also, that trust can be, I think, a wonderful tool when it's like, okay, here's our situation. We know this or that isn't where we want it to be. We believe this could be better. And to have them be willing to have the reins at least loose enough that environment is, again, I use production, which is easy to maybe kind of frame the conversation, but I think almost in any situation, you can kind of take some of those elements. It does come back to that mutual respect and trust of we want to do respected, effective work for you. We say that here at Buntin all the time.
Yeah.
And effective work means exactly what it means. You're here to, gain awareness for your brand, or generate leads, or elevate this product and catch the leader in the category because you're a challenger brand. Whatever it might be, that's our job.
Yeah.
The respected part about it is, we also want people to like you and like your brand.
Yes.
And have an emotional connection to the brand in a way that is positive and helps you on the memory train 7 months from now when they're actually considering buying a car or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and I think it really does start with mutual respect and trust. At least I believe that. So.
I think that's a really important point. I will say, from my own experience, at times I think I want to fast forward that process because you just want to get there.
Sure.
And I think my nature is I tend to trust people pretty quickly. It's just my nature for whatever reason.
Me too. I figure everyone's here to, for the right reasons.
Yes. Yeah. But everybody's a little slower or, has a different speed of trust. And what can happen is, if you feel a sense of trust, you just presume everybody's on the boat with you, and you may skip over that necessary work of relationship building, which again is the messy human work that, sometimes, even I probably wanted to skip the messy human work and just get to the place where let's just do this stuff. Let's just have fun.
One sign that will tell you that is if you wander over to catering and your client can't hold his hand still with his coffee cup.
I should have picked up on that back in the day.
Are you a little nervous this morning? Is this something we need to talk about?
That's a good one. So, yeah, but I think all of that stuff is great. I think at the core, this work, and probably any work, this probably translates to any, fundamental, corporate work or business work, is trust is at the core of it. And there's some work to be done to gain and build and maintain that. And it's not as simple as willing it to be. You have to show up and be in the work.
Right. Well, and that's, I think again, as an industry as a whole, I think we have sometimes a tough time maintaining that trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I can speak for myself, and I think I speak for most people in my circle, and certainly us here.
Yeah.
It's a living, breathing organism that needs to be continually watered, if you will.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be hard if that's kind of your nature.
Yeah.
I think that's important. And I also think you want to, when you're staffing or you're managing, you want to find each person's version of that and make
Hmm.
sure that that's what is a big part of their sort of like professional DNA.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't. I think about this a lot. That we're I'm at the other end of the same generation you're in, but
Hmm.
I'm over here. But this is not a gripe. I just maybe I was envious, but understood I never could be. Our industry hit a point probably 20 plus years ago where self promotion became such a big part of, you know, seeking the really big brass rings. You know, if you
Yeah.
really want to be CCO of a network or something like,
Hmm.
suddenly you
Sure.
were a disruptor and you were writing articles and you were this and you were doing that. And I thought I just never I just didn't have I don't have that gear. And
Hmm.
at the same time, I'm not sure if I was at the talent level to ever be there. I'm certainly not making that assumption.
Right.
But uh, you, I certainly by observation watched people kind of get a little distorted on what the right things were.
Yeah. 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 You're shaping the story as much as you are shaping the work
Yes.
and live. Yeah, I get it. I mean, that's the world right now, right? It's this balance of, you know, can you can you be focused on the work you're doing, and to the extent that you need to play this game, can you play it with a clear head, you know, in terms of keeping whatever visibility you need to create for yourself or the brands you're working on that isn't taking precedence over actually doing the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this helps add to this conversation, but I came in to Shy It years later. That Duncan brought me in, and I again a long freelance gig, and I got Duncan and I got put on a AirTouch Cellular. I just remember the brand. I can't
Mm.
remember, but the previous writer had come down from Wyden and Kennedy, and he worked on it for a while, and then he had moved on.
Hmm.
I sat down in my first client meeting, and the client said, first thing he said is like, if you tell me to buy something because it's fucking cool, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, there it is. Right.
And I guess that was,
Yeah.
you know, a part of the pitch,
Hmm.
you know, and and I don't know, I'm not trying to sound like an angel here, but it's like those words have never
Yeah.
left my mouth in a conversation with a client, at least in that situation. Certainly, sometimes I built those years at Leo Detroit, and I was so
Yeah.
close to the GM clients, and at times I would say it's like it's kind of the cool. This will have a cool factor.
Yeah. Right.
This
It's a part of
you
the puzzle, but it's
Yeah,
not
it's
the
part of the
reason.
puzzle, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But not the reason why.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some of this is making me wonder, like, you've spent a lot of time in creative leadership and there's a lot of different skills. I feel like you're nodding into relational skills, obviously the work itself, the sort of pieces of the game. I mean, what does it actually take to become a good creative leader, and how is that different from being a good creative?
Grow up working for good creative leaders.
That's got to help.
And then
Yeah.
just try to remember everything.
Yeah.
Interesting question. Kind of a hard one to answer, maybe. I guess we're both, we've earned our living as creatives too, which I always think is, we're all player coaches at this point. Uh, I mean, creativity, like right at its core, it's jumping off the cliff every morning. It's staring down the blank screen.
Hmm.
You are looking at something that isn't there,
Hmm.
or looking for something that isn't there. And hopefully by the end of the day, you have made something that wasn't there. And it has value, has, perhaps certainly, hopefully is solving a significant marketing problem for your client.
Hmm.
But that morning, it wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I like I do my best to kind of create a culture and an environment and a window for people to, or a door for people to step through each day where
Mm-hmm.
they should do that without any fear or hesitation.
Yeah.
If I can get that much out of, a team or teams where they're like, when they arrive, you know, and they have a brief that they've, been kicking around, and today they're really going to lean into it.
Mm-hmm.
They think that those hours, whatever it is,
Yeah.
you kind of want them creatively at their best.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're at your best when you are operating without fear or hesitation.
Yeah. That's a
So
good point.
that's, and that's not always been true. Certainly I've had I've had enough bosses. They've all been quite varied,
Yeah.
but I just have great memories of working for and with people who were incredibly optimistic and positive and supportive without being a pushover.
Yeah.
It's not about liking everything
Mm-hmm.
that somebody does.
Right.
That brings no value to this role.
Yeah.
But it is about, I think, looking for a positive level, something, and I'll just do more name dropping. I just stole this from Lee early on. He was really good at finding the one thing
Yeah.
that might turn into something else
Mm-hmm.
if you kind of had a wall of shit.
Yeah.
So, and I've had other, they're not
They're not like that. I know.
like that.
Yes. They are.
One, I won't say his name because we're now friends, but he used to walk in the room and look at remember the old, usually everything was,
It's on the walls. Yeah.
so it's like, when are you guys going to start working on this thing? And walk out.
I know. There's sort of a funny mythology about that kind of leader, right? That like, I got to imagine for some folks that probably worked, right? Like it worked,
Sure.
Because
Well, I'll
there's
jump
been
in. It's not to say I may have done also good work for
yeah.
both.
Yeah. Yeah.
It almost, again, it kind of comes back to the experience and the culture and the environment.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for listening. If you're liking what you hear and like the idea of making work not suck, I invite you to schedule a free half-hour discovery session. What role is work playing in your life right now? Let's talk about it. All right, back to the show. Yeah, yeah. My general take is like that kind of culture can work, but it's hard to sustain yourself in it for a long time. So the places that were more churn and burn shops,
Right.
and people kind of would roll through for a year and then move on, you could probably handle the abuse of that a little bit more. But if you're trying to build a place with a little bit more of a lasting culture, and sometimes, particularly like things like automotive accounts, where those are often very long tenured account relationships, and people, and there's actually value to being on them for a while from all departments. You learn more, you go deeper, you get more insight and understanding the longer you're there. I think you need to build more of that first kind of a culture there a little bit more.
Right.
And it really is a gift to see the wall of shit, as you say, and go, but I don't know, something in that word or in the way those two words are mashing together is interesting. And it's definitely not an idea yet, but see what happens. Yeah. I mean,
Well, we were together on this on Mazda. We had, a phrase came through that I thought was interesting. No one else thought it was that interesting. I spent a fair amount of time on my own with, working on the point of view on it, and eventually found something in that it's sort of like one of those. It has a longevity to it. So
yeah. Yeah.
our friend Brad, I teased Brad about it when I came. It's like,
of course, you got to do that.
I see you're speaking at Cannes tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah, he's definitely made the circuit. I got to give Brad credit too, because he's got to be one of the longest tenured CMOs out there at this point.
When he got that gig, he didn't think it was going to last a minute.
Yeah. I mean, they often don't. I mean,
that's the start of COVID. So he's been there 6 years.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That's almost record breaking.
Yeah.
Speaking of COVID, I wanted to touch on something that's kind of been in our work reality now for that long, for 6 years, which is this hybrid kind of way of working. Some places are fully remote. Some places are mostly fully back in the office. Most places are trying to navigate some space in between. And how's that going? I mean, how are you feeling about it? And, what's working, what's
I'll
not?
tell you tomorrow. I got to this client meeting today. I'm a little opinionated about this, and I just talk about production for 10 minutes, so I already sound pretty fucking old school. Here, I'll just share just literally in the last probably 3 weeks, we made some physical changes here at the agency, and I've reclaimed what's called the creative loft.
Mm-hmm.
Our team has come down here on the main floor, it's over there.
Yeah.
And we are repurposing the upstairs as a true creative flex space.
Mm-hmm.
Physically put work on the walls.
Yeah.
And walk through and take the tangible nature of that sort of approach to it.
Yeah.
And frankly, get out of this, do our best to rely much less on Google Live Docs and, SharePoint and this stuff, this kind of like, online sort of animal.
Yeah.
It just, for me, and I have a vote. I don't get close enough to the work.
Mm-hmm.
You have situations where you look up in the corner on a doc that you're going to present in an hour, and there's 7 people,
all
little
noodling in
initials
there
across the top.
Yeah.
Who the hell is?
Right. Yeah. Or they got those weird names like, Silly Fox or like weird. Yeah.
So, and I guess I'm getting to your question. So in that, we certainly have people who work remote.
Mm-hmm.
I was clear when I came here a year and a half ago. I'm a fan of being on the ground. I'm here 5 days a week.
Yeah. And
I will be as flexible as I need to be. Please, until it hinders the performance of the agency.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I feel at times we need to do a better job of kind of managing how we create the work. So we've taken that step. You're here during the sort of like the beta phase. Mm-hmm. And I think so far I've seen more energy. I've seen people kind of, my social guys, the people who really weren't raised like we were, and they've lived here forever. It's a bit of an eye opener for them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, honestly, they get the best version of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I can walk up to something and go, here's what's isn't sticking for me here, or this idea isn't closing well enough, I think, for a client to go, I think that again, I will own this.
Yeah.
Well, I sit in a gigantic conference room, and it's that big at the far end on a screen.
Yeah.
And it's zipping by because we only have 10 more minutes.
Yeah.
I don't give it what it deserves.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I mean, it's interesting. I've definitely experienced good feelings on both sides of this. I mean, I get the remote thing. I enjoyed it for a period while we were in it. It certainly served me well for some personal reasons as well, in terms of, flexibility at home and all that stuff. So there's a lot of good stuff there, but you are uncovering something which I think actually comes full circle back to some of the stuff we said at the beginning around that just human thing, right? The ability to be in person, it creates something just in terms of, I don't know the science behind it, but things like mirror neurons and all these other things of being around people that is hard to recreate through the screen. I think you're getting a version of it, but it's a scaled down version of it through the screen. And I certainly think with a lot of the tools, they can be very useful in certain instances. Certainly when you're just like slapping stuff back and forth, certainly in a remote way, it's nice to be able to just have somewhere to store stuff and it's common and it's easy. But you do miss, there's the tactile thing too. There is something about seeing a physical thing that the body experiences differently than seeing pixels. And I know, again, no idea what the science is behind that, but it's felt. So I think every workplace is struggling with this, but particularly creative workplaces where there is a work product that you need to experience, soak in fully. And soaking in is not purely a eyes and brain exercise. It is a full body sort of exercise. It can be hard to do that purely
Right.
in a document. Yeah.
Excellent. All solid. That's exactly right. A friend who's an EP in the TV business, and as COVID hit, they tried to do remote writing rooms,
Yeah.
and it's like he's unmitigated disaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
He says just the nuance of someone trying to write a joke for 9 other people, but the joke was in the way they delivered it and the look on their
Yeah.
face, and technically that's happening on the screen, but it's not. You don't get that kind of like nonverbal communication.
Yeah.
That's sort of like I know people have touched upon it often through COVID and now post COVID, but like that, there is a language to body language. There is a story being told that in our line of work is kind of a critical avenue.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I think, you described the conference room, and I think that's actually the hardest thing to replicate is being in a room with 10 other people. And whether that's a writer's room or just we're in a meeting at work, 10 boxes on the screen, it comes nowhere near, like the whole experience is very different. In many ways, it's a little bit more awkward having everyone's face a foot away or a foot and a half away from your face. Like there's something off-putting about it versus, and you don't have the full body understanding. Like I only, you can only tell what's happening from chest up for me. So like if somebody's tapping their foot or if somebody's, crossed their legs or if somebody's whatever, even subtly move their chair back away from the table, it's a little harder to pick up on remotely. So yeah, I think you're experimenting with stuff in a really interesting way. I think I'd be curious to see how the beta phase goes,
right.
Because I think it's critical. And I think in the world that now includes AI as this new layer of technology on top of all the other layers of technology we're talking about, I mean, that's its own thing. I mean, how are you guys working with AI? Because it feels like we're fumbling a lot and then occasionally maybe getting something good.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's moving so rapidly that it is. I don't know where we want to. It feels like we don't know where we want to jump on this fast moving train, and what do we want out of it?
Yeah.
I was online the other day. Michael Foligno, great writer. Someone pushed around in our world, our kind of vertical online world, ad industry world. I don't know I don't think it's a spec spot. I think it's an actual spot. But and it's almost irrelevant to spot itself. But what Michael said, and a few people lined up behind him, was like, this is a beautiful use of the technology. The idea is flawed.
Yeah.
It's telling you a story that if you at the almost, maybe conscious, but certainly subconscious level, you don't buy it. So, and I think that's a tricky problem because we are pretty much there, and I'm sure it'll be better next week, that you can make anything.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't make anything.
Yeah. That's a great line.
You should make the right thing.
Yeah.
And we've had some experience lately with a client and with something where we really leaned into AI. And there's still some gaps. There's still some.
For sure.
Just like me looking at a rough cut going, what was the frame rate? There's no frame rate.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just like, can we slow that down a little?
Yeah.
Well, and of course, everyone's so enthusiastic. Good notes.
Yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow. And then it's not, it's just, we've had some, it's been, again, less our client, less everybody involved with the process. I think we all know we have to kind of jump out of this plane together
Sure.
and then learn as we fall.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then kind of hopefully get our feet underneath us and get it right enough that nobody dies.
Yeah.
Then you just keep, I think, taking the good from an AI experience and trying to, just make it better next time. I got a couple of people here on staff. They're like the agency prompters. They really kind of dug into all the different platforms.
Mm-hmm.
They've done a really good job of getting visuals or getting some piece of animation or something out of it.
Yeah.
That's been quite useful.
Yeah.
I have a few other people who just come up with a thought or an idea, and it sounds like a perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
Chase like an AI imagery to quickly share that, and
This doesn't work.
days later they're fucking suicidal.
I know. It is like brutal at times, I think, working with that technology, because sometimes things that sound so obvious and easy are really hard to do.
Right.
Like you said, like even like slowing something down, you'd slow it down, but like it would screw something else up in the process of slowing it down. It doesn't work the same way a conversation with an editor or an animator work. It's just, there's something different. And you come back to the notion underlying all of it, which is the idea. What AI ultimately seems to be is this sort of aggregator of all the thought, of all the things. And ideas are rarely like the smooth output of that, which is sort of where AI goes when it comes to ideation. It's smoothing out all of the rough edges and giving you a beautiful average of what's good. As opposed to, like you said, we all sort of steal, beg, and borrow, but it's the weird mashup of those things that creates an interesting idea, and the weighting of all of those different pieces in weird, imperfect ways is why suddenly you go, ooh, this is grabbing me, versus, ooh, that sounds good on paper, but.
And back to earlier in our conversation, and again, the dusty old world of production, and putting those elements on the table, I don't know how many times the unscripted, improvised change became the pivot or the center or what everybody remembered, or and it could have been as easy as a look, and or just an actor in the moment, anybody, a client, somebody, and that's not any coming out of AI.
It really isn't, right? And it's it'll be interesting to see how things sort of suss out here over the next few years as the realities of what AI is and what it isn't soak in, and our ability to work with those realities and how we build human frameworks around it to make something great, not just anything.
Well, and another partner of ours, it's like, we want to make our clients and ourselves not just human but superhuman. But it's more of an augmentation of what we do, not what we do. Again, And I have to, again, on this side of the aisle, but I've seen it certainly in media and research, insight, aggregating that information and making it accessible and, for the most part, clear now in seconds
it's pretty good.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, so. It is pretty remarkable in a lot of ways. Yeah. One thing I wanted to touch on too here, I know we're getting close to starting to wrap up, is, I think that sort of holy grail within ad agencies for a number of years has always been, we want to be more than just an ad agency. We want to think beyond the idea for the spot, the campaign, even the brand. We want to use this beautiful sort of ability to mash up human complexity in interesting ways to solve bigger business problems. And it occasionally shows up, or it shows up as something we pitch, but they, kind of give us the stay in your lane nod, interesting, but whatever. How do we do that? Like, because I think there's room for it. I think our skill sets are really well suited for it, but there seems to be a little resistance in the system for it.
It's another good point. Like here at Buntin, beyond, we want to push beyond attention to conviction.
Mm-hmm.
Often as we, our perspective, our point of view in something that, we truly believe in.
Mm-hmm.
For the reasons that I'm sure you already understand.
Yeah.
But having someone convicted to a brand is, a sense of loyalty, a sense of trust, a sense of consistency.
Yeah.
In that relationship. But what you just said is often the way you get there. Stepping into operations,
Mm-hmm.
stepping into like the rhythm and cadence of a retail flora.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They tell this. We have a story in one of the stories we tell years ago,
Mm-hmm.
but long before my time, had the Goodyear tire business, like the retail business.
Yeah.
And this is probably 30 years ago.
Mm.
They walked in and said, the female audience is being overlooked, and here's how you could reimagine your interior space to appeal to that audience, the female audience, in a much, much better way, being a little less intimidating,
Mm-hmm.
or 1, 2, 3, how to, and some basic, clarification.
Yeah.
Worked like crazy.
Yeah.
So that and as you say, that bubbles around in our ether every day.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
I think it comes back to first of all, the client need.
Yeah.
And then the sort of that relationship, that mutual trust and respect.
Mm-hmm.
And then, having a collaborative environment where, as I said earlier, you want to be able to discuss and share those things without fear or hesitation. And I don't know always how that comes about. I think about some of my bigger, the big automotive clients I've worked on, or the big tech clients I've worked on.
Mm-hmm.
Often you are in a stay in your lane position there.
Yeah.
And we have a couple of clients here, one client in particular, and we've done quite well with them, and they're doing quite well in the financial space. But they're quite clear. It's like, you're the awareness agency.
Yeah.
And we know we have other skill sets that, we can bring to the table, but that's how they have other resources. That's how they want to manage the business.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of stuff just below the surface on that one that makes it why it makes it so hard for.
Yeah. I mean, as you're saying that, I think some of it again kind of comes back to this idea of, the human element, the ability to connect in person. If you're always sort of working through a screen, it's a little easier to stay in your lane. If you're getting a chance to go and folks in their place of business and sort of walk the floors with them and even meet other pieces of the team, it's not always I'm just talking to the marketing person or even the awareness, manager for the marketing team, but you're getting to sort of know the business more organically, which is a lot harder to do when you're just in the document, in the screen all the time, versus having a relationship that can extend beyond that, meeting with the CMO and meeting the rest of the C-suite at some point, and kind of like the operations head. And suddenly there's conversations there, and they know you. So when the CMO goes, "Hey, my guys had an idea around changing something operationally," it's not like, "What the hell are you talking about?" It's like, "Oh, Steve, sure, yeah."
No, you're right. You have to, the challenges and even the politics on the client side of the aisle. It's like, I've certainly had more than one client say, I had a GM client years ago. It's like, there are pioneers and there are settlers here at GM.
Yeah.
Like,
I like that.
You want anything to do with,
Yeah.
his head up, like a prairie dog. He's just
I
gonna,
get that. I get that. It's good to know that, though, right?
right.
It's just good
No,
to
and
be
he was
aware. Yeah,
transparent.
yeah. So I know we're about to wrap up here. I have a few more questions. One of which is, do you have a question you'd like to throw out to the audience?
Well, I wonder these days if what people, I don't know if you follow Brian Birch online. He's been posting a lot of those old Bernbach quotes lately.
Yeah,
And it reminded me of our job through his eyes about, we're in the persuasion business.
hmm
I wonder how much your audience believes we are still in the persuasion business at the end of the day.
that's an interesting one. Yeah, I bet a lot of people are probably going like, "That's the first time I've even heard that idea." Yeah, and
Yeah.
then like, well,
Is this between my gray beard and my gray hair? And people be like, who's that old fart that DJ was talking to?
well, I'd be curious, even like the word persuasion, I think for some people is going to come across negatively. It's going to
Yeah.
feel like akin to manipulation in a way. It's going to feel like, as opposed to recognizing like that's actually like what we're doing as human beings all the time is just trying to give people a chance to be a little closer to what we're thinking and at least have a chance to buy into it or come back with a different perspective. Like it's a natural human thing, but I
It
think
just
we,
resonated a lot the other day when I came across it. And I thought, yeah, I mean, we took, the pill inside the cheese. Like
yeah,
you create something, it gets out in the wild, people love it, and they don't even realize perhaps that they've been told that
yeah,
truck's more than any other truck. It
exactly.
was kind of like it's kind of tucked away in there. So,
Yeah. That's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah. So we've talked a lot about trying to make the experience of all this work better. If you could wave a magic wand and just fully desuckify work, what does it look like?
wow, that's a big one. Again, like to I'd like to bring the fun and optimism back to the business.
Mm. hmm Yeah.
And maybe
I,
I'm being romantic or nostalgic, and I
yeah.
realize my upbringing was one for the ages,
Yeah.
jumping from
But I think it was a gift that we should be trying to give more people, right? Meaning the optimism and fun are not just great because they're light and whatever. Optimism or fun and fun are great because they actually lead to wonderful work as well. Like it's not just an end in it itself. It actually is fuel
right.
for better work.
And I have to say, we do a nice job here, and
Yeah.
I'm around. I'm doing my best each and every day. But it feels like sometimes we've picked up this anvil and we've tied it to our back, and
hmm
it just doesn't. What it's we all bought into this
Yeah.
crazy thing.
Yeah. We don't realize that we're the ones who tied it on our back. We're just like, get this thing off my back. And it's like, well, you put it there. Yeah. So speaking of fun, one thing I like to do on the show that's a little fun, a little silly, but I'll invite you to take part is I do some sound effects at the beginning of every show. You'll hear cats meowing, which is my shtick. But I always invite the guest to make a sound, share a sound, something that will show up in the show. Do you have something you could share with us?
Let's see if I can still, if I do it. I'm 50-50 on this silly little sound, but I did do it in a pitch last month, and I nailed it. And we didn't win the business though, so technically I did not nail it. But it's the cork pop. It's like that little like, that's about all I got.
That's good. That's good. I like it. I like it. I like
You can
that.
isolate that, bring in your sound engineer.
We'll make it work. We'll make it work. Yeah, I'll boost the lows on it a little bit, and it'll come through nice. Last question I always ask, obviously, is how can people track you down online, learn more about you and the work you do, all that good stuff.
Well, I'm on LinkedIn, easy enough. If someone even wants to write me an email directly, if they're ready to hear that, I'll give you my business email right now, which is S Chavez, SCHA, V as in Victor, EZ,
Mm-hmm.
at Buntin Group, BUNTIN Group, one word, .com.
Awesome. I will point folks there. And Steve, just thanks for coming on. I think we like dug into some really cool, interesting stuff that I know is in the ether at most agencies these days, and hopefully gives people some stuff to chew on.
Hey, it's first of all, it's great to see you.
Yeah, likewise.
All's well, otherwise, outside of this. And I really enjoyed it. I didn't really know what to expect, but a little stream of consciousness. But hopefully you can solve any of the whatever mess I just made.
I think it was quite good, and I look forward to putting it out in the world. Thanks, Steve.
All right, TJ. Take care,
Bye-bye.
buddy.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to the DesuckifyWork podcast. And a huge thanks to Steve for bringing hope and humor to the show. You can follow Steve on LinkedIn and check out Buntin's site at buntingroup.com. You can also reach out to Steve directly at schavez@buntingroup.com. If you enjoyed the conversation and would like to find some calm in the chaos of work, I invite you to schedule a free half-hour discovery session. Type meow in the calendar invite, and I'll also send you a free DesuckifyWork t-shirt. Bye, everyone.